Welcome to Disrupt and Discuss with your hosts, E and KayCee. A Blue Shade Ventures production brought to you by It's Just ETV and My Herba by the Fitness Collective. Now, without any further ado, disrupt and discuss.
Hey.
Hello.
How's everybody doing? Welcome back to Disrupt and Discuss. I am E,
I'm KayCee.
and together we are D and D. You guys, the last time we spoke, we had the topic of snatched, sculpted, and obsessed.
I
How'd
always
you
want
like
to
those
stay
hands?
relaxed after you say that. But anyway,
Right? And obsessed, the plastic surgery phenomenon exposed. That was part one. Now we're doing part two because we had a lot of information. So we decided to just chop it up. Yeah, it was a lot to go over. It's a lot of people cutting on themselves out there. So it's a lot of, plastic surgery procedures that we covered. Make sure you catch part one. But part two, I felt that we should have its own segment because it's just so popular in the community right now, unfortunately. And just wanted to dive in a little bit deeper and get into more detail about it. So, this one is going to be focused on three of the hottest topics, and they all coincide together. And we're going to talk about the BBL, that Brazilian
yes.
butt lift, the dark side of that, the dark side of body image, and the hidden risk with regards to medical tourism. A lot of people go abroad for procedures anyways, but I think it ties into the butt lift because a lot of people go abroad for that butt lift, or they leave their state, go to another state for the butt lift. But we're gonna talk about all that. So let's get into that. KayCee, you ready?
I am ready.
You ready? And you guys are not catching us on. If you catch us on YouTube, you're gonna see us. So shameless plug. Come to YouTube so you can see our faces. But if you're catching us on the audio on Spotify, Apple, Google, you will see my lovely co-host KayCee. She's
As
exactly. She's looking phenomenal today.
we call her Diva as we were hiking. So what does that
Yes.
tell you?
I'm not that much of a diva.
Why you gonna lie? You just gonna sit there and lie.
Hopefully, I don't get struck down. I'm in my
Matching
house.
thing when we would hike,
Yes, I did. It's a problem. It's
and
a
I look like
problem.
an old lady.
We should have a discussion about that. Our hikes and how we were. She's had these two poles
Trek
tracking.
poles.
She would, it felt like I was like, well, can you walk? They were like canes, but we were hiking up some
They're trekking poles.
trekking poles,
Yes.
trekking poles to help her when we go up these hills. Now, when we got up on these inclines, I almost wish I had on my damn self. So I'm just going,
Yeah,
but
I
I
know
was
everybody
laughing at
did.
her.
I don't care if
Right?
you
Okay, she came prepared.
Crocodile Dundee.
Her crocodile Dundee hat, her trekking poles, and everything.
It was yeah.
Power
Oh,
bars. No, if we would have got lost up there in the mountains or the hills, we would have had to hit up KayCee's backpack for all our nutrition. So,
uh-huh. Oh,
but back to the conversation at hand. We talk about the plastic surgery of it all, y'all. The
yes.
plastic surgery of it all. KayCee, we're gonna talk about this Brazilian butt lift. What you got on it?
Well, I just don't understand. I get it, but I don't get it. I've never had this issue before. I don't need you to
She showed.
co-sign that.
Yes, I am.
But
You
it's
know,
just,
I'm gonna.
I just remember, and just a little disclaimer, when I was growing up in my elementary school years, I was one of two Black kids in the school. So for me, anything that people are paying thousands of dollars for now, I would get bullied by it. And I didn't even call it bully back then. You just took
Right.
it. And I remember if they put your hands on you, you better hit them or be afraid to come home. I didn't have that issue growing up. But depending on where you grow up, like I said, my air quote formative years, I didn't want to have a big butt because everybody else was not like me. So now I see people paying all this money, and it's like, wow, this is where we've come. And what also kind of gets to me as well, and I know people have to make money, I'm not oblivious to that, but now
Right.
we as Black women are doing this. And I know certain professions make more money. I'm not stupid when it comes to that. But then you've got your average Joe out there, and I mean not entertainment is what I'm referring to as far as average. And they're doing this. And it's
Right.
like, why are you doing this? But that wasn't the question you asked me. There is that Brazilian butt lift. I thought it all just kind of went under that heading, but I didn't
Right.
realize that there were differences. For those that don't know, the Brazilian butt lift involves liposuction to remove fat from areas like your abdomen, your thighs. Then the fat is purified and re-injected into the butt to enhance the shape and volume.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's a lot to do. And the dangers of it all with that, just one little portion of that,
Right.
having somebody take the fat from you. Because I was not blessed in this area. So I'm one of these people who considered it at one point in my life. And I was like, well, you can, especially when I was a big girl. Now, when I was a big girl, I had a little junk in the trunk. But as I lost this weight, it went away, just like my tatas.
Oh, well, if you yeah,
Yeah.
if you're breastfeeding,
Breastfed too. I
yeah,
breastfed too. So I was prime candidate for stuff like this. But as I learned more and as society started, a lot of the actresses and entertainers of the world were getting these Brazilian butt lifts. Then it trickled down into the regular, everyday, average person getting these things like flight attendants, people who go to the gym, your regular housewife. Everybody got a big old booty, got a big old butt right now. But when you look at the procedure and the risk with the procedure, that's when I started saying, does the risk outweigh the quote unquote reward? And for
right,
me, it was too much of a risk. So I was like, no, I'm not willing to die just to have a big old booty.
right.
I'm good.
A lot of times, one only thing that I do really know of, like the plastic surgeon that I am familiar with, he flat out said he wouldn't do them. That's something that is very dangerous, and he doesn't touch them. So not everybody wants to do that. And I don't know if we'll probably let me know if we'll revisit this at another time as well. But you know, they they're going, what is it, black market, and
Mm-hmm.
getting it done.
Yep.
And if you have actual surgeons that don't want to do it for various
Don't want to
reasons,
touch it.
so why would I go to Motel 6 at 7:30 with $85
Right.
and then get it done?
Part
Oh,
that I don't understand.
you don't know what they're putting in it.
Yeah. And there have been cases, and I don't know if you heard of this case, but there was actually I think it was a trans woman
Uh-huh.
who were performing the procedures, just like you said, in hotels and back alleys. So obviously they're not sterilized, anything like that. It's not clean. And people
No.
just laying down on a bed. We talking like Motel 6, Holiday Inn, or even less
Right.
than that. We talking about hotels or motels that don't have reputations. Women are going into and letting somebody inject something that is not certified, not qualified into their body, and they don't know. Well, this person was injecting tire sealant.
I've heard the concoction had cement in it.
Yes, it causes granules in your. It starts rotting your flesh. There's major complications with that. But in my mind, I'm like, why would I let somebody do that to me just so I can look a certain way? You forego every, what do you call it? Your intuition. I know your intuition got to be kicking in about this, and you're foregoing all of that to do
You
that.
pass how many hospitals on your way to Motel 6
Right.
to get this procedure done? It's like,
Right. And you don't see
mm-mm,
nothing wrong with it.
not at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
No.
It speaks to society today how People aren't really thinking, they're just doing things as they see other people do. Or you're letting somebody on social media who has a platform and page who are actually showing their procedures and dancing, and while you knocked out on the table and they're creating highlight reels of the surgery, and you're like, oh yeah, I want them to do my surgery. And then stuff messes
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. And to even add that on it, if I'm living, we're in California, so there's really no reason to have to leave the state because
At
everywhere you
all.
go. But there are people that live in California, for example, or anywhere. But I know of some that have gone all the way to Miami to get this procedure done.
Oh,
And it's
wow.
like you've passed so many other places just to go there. And the other part that just that's one, well, let me back up. That's one thing. You go where you want to go, but you're flying there, you're staying at a hotel, you're staying at another facility for about a week, and then you're getting on an airplane. Look, oh,
Exactly.
so you're getting on an airplane and you're dealing with altitude, you're dealing with all of that. And now you've got these antibiotics and you've had this major surgery. Some are going home still with the tubes. And whether it's an abdomen, I know for sure they have a couple of drains. So you're dealing with all of this and you're flying back home.
Exactly.
And
It's crazy.
just because it's cheaper, people go, oh, I'm not going to, it's too expensive here. So I'm going to go somewhere else. Trying to cut costs is not always a good thing.
Right.
The flight alone, after I've had major surgery, scares the shit out of me. I don't want to go down to Southern Cal in an airplane.
Absolutely. Because you run the
And
risk of blood clots from the elevation. Once they get in there, they travel quickly, and that altitude will make it travel quickly, and it's going straight to your heart. You don't
yeah,
want to play with that, but people don't do a lot of. I noticed in a lot of things with regards to just procedures, even in bariatric, people really don't do research. I see it, I see the result, I want it, but they don't count the cost of what could happen, potential risk, and what it encompasses altogether.
right. Well, even when I had my tummy tuck, it was like you're signing a lot of paperwork and it makes you think, do I really want to do this? And you're like, fuck it. Yeah, I do. But prior to that, I went and a friend of mine was going to get her tummy tuck first. So follow the leader. But one of the things that she had done her due diligence and she showed me where he got his license, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But she said, I want you to show me something that I don't know about this particular physician because that was her whole point. Plus, she's in the field of law. So, of course,
Right.
she wants to do that as well. But she said, I've done my research. I know what makes me feel comfortable. Don't go by what I'm saying. Look at
Exactly.
this. And then we had a consultation so I could see if I even liked the guy. It all worked out, but I had to find something different. I'm sure she scrubbed everything to find out, but she wanted to see that I did my homework too. That's how you do it. My doctor will not even entertain the idea of doing BBLs because it's very dangerous. And if you go too low beneath the surface when you're injecting that and it's going to the wrong place, that could be a problem. Now they're
Absolutely.
concerned about that. And then again, you're going to Motel 6 and you're getting that stuff done.
And there,
Mm,
just to talk about it a little bit, why do women get them? A lot of it comes from the cultural influence. You
absolutely.
know,
Yep.
just because we were born melanated, and not every melanated person or melanated woman is born curvy. So those cultural norms, or a Latina, not all Latinas are curvy. When they become popular, like KayCee was saying, now these same things, these lips, the snatched waist, the big backside, those things she was teased for as a
Oh
young
yeah.
girl, but now they are popular as ever.
Bubble lips was the name that I
Yeah,
had.
but now you got people up here looking like fish and blood
Ah,
dolls.
uh,
They can't get enough of it in their lips. They are risking blowing their lips apart. Their skin is so thin because they keep injecting more filler for something that a lot of young girls that are melanated were teased for when they were children because it wasn't popular. Cultural influences. Case in point, the Instagram platform showcasing dramatic before and after transformations. We see that all the time. It's a sales pitch, a marketing pitch. Most of us know this, but it's effective. It's definitely effective. Catches me a lot of time. Should I go? How much is that? How many coins do I have to spend to get that? It is what it is. It definitely does happen. But then we look at self esteem and confidence. A lot of times, women, they're lacking self esteem and they're lacking confidence. Many women feel disproportionate, especially if you've had a child or when you were younger, you were super skinny. Back then, again, the end thing was to be super thin. Look, Jane Fonda, I'm dating myself. Jane Fonda. Who else? Cardio was in. So looking straight up and down, believe it
Yeah.
or not,
All those
these ears.
movies, those
Yeah.
workout movies.
All of Gen Zers, unless you've watched those old, not Sylvester
It
Stallone,
was like
but
Jamie Lee Curtis was doing
Jamie Lee
one.
Curtis.
Workout. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Wasn't it Jamie Lee Curtis and John Travolta?
I think so. Yes.
Yes. So you guys don't know what we talking about Gen Zers, but back in the day, being straight up and down was a thing. So again, melanated wasn't really in because a
No.
lot of us were born curvy. We weren't born straight up and down. Even if you didn't have a huge booty, we were still curvaceous.
Right.
So, having those self-esteem issues played a part in it. And there's a statistic that in 2022, a study found that 85% of BBL patients reported improved confidence and self-esteem just by putting some what it takes KayCee to talk about it. What she
What?
say? Looking like a P, just
Looking
looking
like
like a
the letter
P,
P. Exactly. That's exactly what they look.
like the letter P gave them confidence. 85% got confidence. Now, obviously, we talking about the ones that's botched and disproportionate, where the booty don't match the thigh ratio.
Oh
Booty to thigh
God.
ratio is
Oh
off.
God. I'm like,
It's off. So you look like the letter P. And when she said that, I was like, you know what? Girl, you are not lying.
you got
Turn
those
to the
bird
side,
legs
the letter
and you got
P.
that
Letter
butt.
P.
And it's like,
Yes.
no, you need to do
And
the thighs need to be in conjunction there somewhere. And I
right.
guess you know what it reminds me of, and here I am, I'm dating you because I'm sure this is what you remember. That movie, I'm gonna get you sucker.
Yes.
And the guy gets out of jail and he's got the clothes he went in jail with. He's got the
Yes.
platform shoes with the goldfish in it,
Yep.
and he's walking
Yep.
out thinking, "Oh, I'm looking good," and people are actually laughing at him. Then after a
Yes.
while, then
Yeah, the
because
platform shoes, those were crazy.
and I use that analogy for the same reason. And again, whatever makes you feel good is great. But
Right.
some of these folks, they put on the tight clothes after they get them, and you're like, "Oh shit, they got their ass done."
It's just because it looks good on most people doesn't mean it's gonna look good on you.
All I
Gotta
say
take that
is
into
get it in
consideration.
proportion. That's all. A good surgeon is where you can walk into a room and I know there's something. What if I can walk in and go, ah, damn, another P? It's like,
Right.
ugh.
What about the danger factors? I know we talked about it just a little bit. What's the danger factor with regards to these BBLs? Why are they risky?
Well, again, you're getting into the bloodstream of everything. You're getting fat going into places. It's the layers that you cannot pass in order to have a good one.
And you
And the
talked
fact
about
that,
it, the embolism. Didn't you
yeah,
say the embolism?
off the top of my head, I
Oh,
talk so much.
pulmonary embolism, pulmonary fat embolism. Yeah.
I was talking about so many different things about that. But but again, people are going to do what they want to do. I don't know if the trend is still people with it. I know, but I don't know if
Right.
it's still a trend.
It is. I want to say yes and no because the Kardashians, they have gone in reverse. So they have removed their BBLs. So the trend may be leaving, but I still see a high percentage of butt lifts that take place. So I would say yes and no. I say mainstream, probably not, but for the everyday average, they're still trying to get these butt lifts. They don't want to work it out in the gym The one girl said, I'm not a gym rat. I'm not a person that loves to go to the gym. So this was an easy way for me to get the same result as a woman that works out hard in the gym.
Oh, okay. I know there's probably some doctors out there that also give safer alternatives under the whole safer practice kind of a thing. Yeah.
Is
Look,
there a
you're going to say
safer?
something. Huh?
Is there a safer practice? Because what else can they do? They can put the
Well,
implant, but
I,
feel like you're sitting on plastic all day.
well, things have changed. It's no different, I would say, than the breast implant. So it's not like you're sitting on
True.
some cartilage or something.
True. True. I was told that they have like there's the what is it? The surgical one and then there's the liquid one. The liquid one is I guess the deadlier one. That's the one we were talking about where they inject in some other substances in you as opposed to the surgical way is they are taking fat from yourself and from certain body parts and injecting it into you like you said
Right.
the purification of it all or something like
Yeah,
that.
I'm just wondering then at what point would your body absorb that as well? Because sometimes your
Huh.
body absorbs fat.
That's a
So
good question. Huh.
I,
Y'all
I
let us
don't.
know in the comments with regards to that. Will your body absorb it? I don't know. That's a good question. But that's one of the, like we said, the risk was fat embolism. The common complications is infection, fat necrosis, which is dead fat tissue.
Oh yeah, that was like that TV show were talking about,
K. Michelle. Yeah, we were talking about
and
that.
that just made my ass hurt and had nothing to do with me. I was just like, oh, but it was like a train
Right.
wreck. You couldn't look away. Next episode, it was gross.
Yeah, and she did it to bring awareness to it. You still have a multitude of women. I watched a woman, her friend got the surgery. She died on the table. I was watching a documentary about BBLs and she died on the table. She was 27, had 3 kids, and she was doing it because she wanted to. She has her 3 babies and she wanted to streamline her body again, look like before she had the children. She ended up dying on the table. Her girlfriend, who they interviewed, she was very sad and she was like to go to the funeral and see her daughter, her friend's daughter,
Mm,
crying, hurt her. But in the same instance, the woman asked her, "So would that prevent you, or would you think twice about having the procedure?" She was like, "I had the procedure the next week after she died."
oh, damn.
And she was like, "I understand the risk." And she stated, "When you pay the money, it's non refundable." And
This
she's
is
like,
true.
yeah, she's like, "I paid the money." She's like, "What can you do? You don't get your money back. So you understand the risk and you just pray for the best." He was like, and then she was like, "Well, do any of your other friends do?" She's like, "All my friends have gotten this procedure." She's like, "All your friends?" She's like, "Every one of my friends has gotten this procedure." It's crazy. I would have foregone the money. I'm sorry. But that's just me. My friend, I'm like, y'all can keep it. Y'all can keep it. I can't, I don't know if I could have did it. And if it was, they didn't say if it was the same surgeon or not. I for sure would have let him keep it if it was the
I
same
would have
surgeon.
thought that probably not. After that
I
happened, he
don't
would.
know.
Yeah.
Cause she was like, I can't get my money back, so I'm gonna go through with it.
Okay.
What about the push for safer practices or ethical concerns? I think you touched on that in regards to
Yeah.
reputable surgeons. Let's talk about the data behind the demand.
Sure. For BBLs, it increased by 19% from
Ugh,
2021 to 2023, with over 40,000 procedures performed annually in the US.
it's
And
crazy.
and I don't know if it's a global trend, but the procedure is particularly popular in South America and the Middle East, where body ideals emphasize curvier figures. So I, I don't know necessarily, like, if you're in the Middle East and you're wearing a burqa all the time and then you take it off and you want, and no, I'm not trying to be funny,
No, no,
but
no.
then
I
you
got
want to
you.
take it off, you're feeling sexy. Maybe that's not the right word to use, but just Middle East, I would think that they're built like us anyway.
Correct.
I'm surprised, but not surprised. I mean, if our own people are getting it done.
I agree with that. Even though a lot of us are curvy, we're still opting to go under the knife and get procedures done. It's more self reflection. How you perceive yourself is not always what other people see. They may say, "You're fine, nothing's wrong with you." But when you look in the mirror, you see every imperfection.
Well, and that's why when everybody's talking about the BBLs, because even for me, even now, how I dress, I try to have more going on up here than down below. And I'll wear a blazer, I'll wear something to cover up. And it's not because of ashamed, but just dressing in proportion and also working out. That helps as well, especially when I build up the upper part, then it is in proportion. But then I see some people that are very outlandish about what they've got. And that kind of is just, oh, okay. So I'm more conservative in that respect. A lot of
Right.
different colors and different geometric shapes. And then you got someone's,
And I think it also comes with KC of today is not if this procedure or these types of procedure were available when we were like the Gen Zs or the millennials. Who's to say? Would you be looking at your proportions and the symmetry and how the clothes, being modest, I guess you would say.
yeah, probably not, because
Right.
when you're 20s, you'll live forever. And that's that.
Tell it.
And as we always say, we're always dating ourselves. What got popular when I was in my 30s was everybody was getting their tongue pierced. First, it
Mhm.
was like, what the hell? And by that time, I know people are married with kids and they already do it themselves, but I was working, commuting, raising kids. The last thing that I'm thinking about is getting my tongue pierced.
Right.
If I was in my 20s when that first came out, I'd be in line with
Right.
everybody else. And
And it
yeah,
did come out. I almost did it, but what saved me was the fact that I worked in the financial industry and you couldn't do that. I still had to be professional for my job. So that's what saved me. But I got the tattoos, I got the belly ring. I had all that. I don't have the belly ring anymore, but the tattoos are forever.
oh yeah,
It is what it is.
I got my first tattoo at 18.
Yep. So did I.
And then as soon as I was able to, I went.
Yep.
And I didn't get another one for years. After a while, I started my sleeve and it started getting lower and lower. By that time, I was like, fuck you all. What are you gonna do?
What
And
are you
then
gonna
when
do?
I left my job, it came all the way down to my hands.
Right. You're
So,
like, I'm
so
committed. It's done. Right.
it been done.
So with regards to BBLs, it's a dramatic change, but it enhances your body. Does the risk outweigh the reward, or does the reward outweigh the risk? Do your homework. Like KayCee was saying, there's so many surgeons that will stand clear of doing a BBL. And I'm from the school of thought of if, the most prestigious or well known people who know how to do this the best way, and they like, I always look at Botched, they won't touch it. Most highly sought after cosmetic surgeons or plastic surgeons will not touch this. So for me, that risk is too much for me. So I would say do your research. Can't tell you what to do, but just do your research. Hopefully it gets regulated better. I heard they are trying to make it more specialized and add in an ultrasound to allow the surgeon to follow it. Maybe they're trying to regulate it, make sure people are specialized in it. I don't know how well that's going to work.
I guess they figure it's not going away.
It's not
So
right.
so let's just make it right.
Yeah. So I would say do your homework. And if somebody's talking about going to a motel to get it done, obviously, come on now. Ding, 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 ding. That's not the place for you. Or if you go up in the office and there's a line of folks and he plans on, there's one surgeon and these are all the people he's doing, can you use a little bit of common sense, y'all, please? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Think of us as you big sis, auntie, something. That don't make sense, do it? That don't make sense. So I'm going to get off my soapbox.
Yeah. Just can't say nothing. I've got nothing.
People are going to do what they're going to do. But I say just use a little bit of common sense. That's all. That's
And as
all.
we know, common sense isn't so
That
common.
common.
There's always a dark side of body image and
Yeah.
cosmetic surgery, just in general across the board, not necessarily BBLs, but we have the influence of media. You can cut, splice, paste, and all this kind of stuff. You don't really know if you're going specifically by what you see. That's a problem because if you're watching a TV show, you're done. So you
Right.
just have to really be concerned about that.
Right. Not everything that you see is real. Filters do exist. There's all kind of AI.
Yes,
The experience or the expertise of editors or just editing software now makes it hard to tell what's fake and what's real.
it is.
Definitely, you want to be cautious with regards to that. I agree.
Having realistic ideas of what is going to happen.
Some people, they don't count the cost. They just see what they see and they want it. They
Right.
don't think about what it takes, what you have to endure, what could possibly happen. None of that plays a part in their thought process.
Well, I agree. And then once you get the procedure done, then you start getting used to that. And then you're like, okay, what else can I fix? Then you start getting that whole body dysmorphia, where it's okay, you might want to cool it a little bit. And then they don't. They keep going and keep going. Again, not promoting or plugging Botched because we all know about the show. You
Right.
see people that have that. You really see them.
Absolutely. The people who get the when your face goes and you don't
Like, what did you say? Like, I just said good morning.
and you look like you're in shock. Your face look like you're in shock on a daily basis. And they don't see it. And that's that was it, dysmorphia.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't see it. So yeah. Shouldn't there
And
be tell me this when we talked about this in part one.
mhm.
AC has had procedures or whatever. But is there any psychological evaluations that they take you through? I know for bariatric they do. For this type of for any type of cosmetic surgery, do they take you through any type of
When I went through
evaluation?
to get my stuff, I had the consultation with the physician who was going to
Hmm.
be doing it. But as far as any psychological tests, no, none at all. And I don't know if it would have been more since it's his private practice. So
Hmm.
therefore, him talking with you, getting to know what the procedure is, what your medical vital signs are, and all of that.
Right.
He's and if you come in batshit crazy, I'm sure he'll decide that he will not do the work, because at that point you've made your appointment for the consultation, and then there is where he meets you and you meet him. But I would think it's at discretion, because there was definitely no testing involved at all.
Right. Okay.
So, and then as far as having, if I went several times for some really bizarre bullshit, he would probably lock the door and I wouldn't be there anymore. But then in regards to the whole body dysmorphia, there's a study from the Journal of Psychiatric Research that found that 30 to 40% of patients seeking cosmetic surgery exhibit symptoms of body dysmorphia disorder.
Yep.
Although many are misdiagnosed. He could have said that about me. I get this done. I'm like, oh, now I'm looking at this. Oh, what do we get about this? What do we get about that? I guess there's so many times you can go to the well before they start looking at you sideways.
Well, some you're talking about your surgeon is ethical. There's so many out here that aren't ethical, obviously, you
Right.
know, because that would be the goal to the person who you are trusting with your life, essentially, because these are life altering surgeries. They would be like, you've come in here about 5 times in 6 months or five
Yeah.
times within a
Yeah.
year. We might want to slow it down, but a lot of them, as long as they're paying, they'll do it. So I think ethics has taken a back seat for a lot of these surgeons, unfortunately.
Right. I agree. I do forget sometimes. And there's also the whole point of sometimes surgery doesn't always help.
Yeah.
Sometimes, while surgery can address your physical concerns, it often fails to alleviate the underlying mental health issues driving the dissatisfaction in some cases. So you have that as
Yep.
well, you
Yep.
know. Women always wanting to have symmetry. And even down to your eyebrows, as I was always told, they're not sisters, they're cousins.
But everybody wants symmetry.
Right. One side of your body is larger than the other. One arm, one hand is larger than the other. But then when you're looking at this person that's got this scalpel, you are expecting perfection. And what is
Correct.
perfection? Symmetry. Then you have factor in the emotional risks that go with it, depression, regret, and even suicidal thoughts or action.
Unalive.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I was trying to find the word. But yeah, so you have that kind of stuff. And I just remember taking medications and it would tell you to be very mindful about having thoughts that are not the best and to be aware of that as well. So there's a lot involved, not to scare anybody away. And again, like we say, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it.
Right.
But every time I would get something done, I would think about all these things. I still did it, obviously.
Right.
But you do think about that. Hell, when you go to the dentist and you're getting a filling, you're signing some paperwork. And I'm like, well,
I
damn,
know.
what are you going to do?
Nobody wants to be liable if something happens.
No, not at all.
I think there should be some more ethical regulations put into this business. It's a $1 billion business. They are making money hand over foot on people, but it's not really regulated the way it should be.
Well, and even it ever gets to regulate it the way we all feel that it should be, people go to different countries. You're not locked in to one city, one state, but you can go elsewhere.
True. And that leads us to medical tourism and the hidden risks.
Ha.
Why do people choose medical tourism? Like she said, one of them is cost savings, even though we're more regulated than other countries. So
Right.
our healthcare system does not, it's not something that is approved. So you have to pay out of pocket for most of your surgeries, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It gets very expensive. It's definitely in California. So the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, these all have plastic surgeons. And then you're talking about Los Angeles, Hollywood, Beverly Hills. That's the gamut. You have the corner market on it. Even here, it's extremely expensive. Then it's cheaper to go to Las Vegas or Miami, like KayCee said, or they even have some places in Atlanta, Minnesota. So people go where they can save costs. But I think with doing so, they don't look at the other side of it. Just because I was always taught you get what you pay for. So if you get what you pay for, if you paying pennies on the dollar for something, sometimes it's just not worth it. But that's what a lot of people you deal with. They deal with the fact that it costs less. So like for the Brazilian butt lift, the cost is 12,000 in the US, but the cost might be just 4,000 in Mexico, Turkey, or the DR. And DR is very popular for the Brazilian butt lift.
Very.
So if you're only paying 4,000 as opposed to 12,000, I know that sounds like an extreme bargain, yes, but it ain't like we buying a car. No, we talking about your body.
Right.
We're talking about your body. I know that some people, especially young people, are like, girl, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You do what you do. We're just trying to give you some things to make you think. Does that really make sense? Would you play with your body like that at a discount?
Well, when I know that you get, as we did talk about people going abroad, domestically, I'm talking about this, but then even abroad as well, you get your bundle travel deals.
Bundle travel deals. It's all inclusive, right?
Yes.
All inclusive.
Yes. Even back in the day when celebrities would go away after they filmed or did whatever, they would be gone for a year.
Right.
And then they come back looking all refreshed. Of course you are. So many clinics abroad offer enticing packages that include the surgery, accommodations, vacation-like experience. It's everything. You can pick. Here's the menu. You want A or B.
Right. That makes it enticing.
Yes. Yes.
Makes it enticing.
We all like a menu.
Right. You get this one and they'll throw in a bottle of champagne and some chocolate strawberries.
Yes. Depending on the surgery, you might not be able to eat them, but it's okay.
Right.
You know.
I guess the person that came with you, they can indulge a little bit.
For sure. And then for some people, they want it now. So they don't want to wait. You can go somewhere else and get shorter wait times. I know that's one of the things, especially on different shows, other medical shows that do plastic surgery. Sometimes in the conversation, you'll hear them say, it took me a year to get on the waiting list just for the consultation.
Right.
Once celebrities start talking about their surgeries and they mention their doctor, all of a sudden they're booked. Other times people have to go to their second or third choice due to the lack of wait times. And you can get in and out quickly. I don't know if that's good or bad, but shorter wait times. And there's people that still to this day want discretion. Again, traveling abroad would it give them that advantage so they can be incognito and they don't have to have any judgment, whether it be friends, family, or colleagues. You just come back looking refreshed and good as new. So
Unless you get that dang butt lift that make you look like a pea. They
yeah,
don't know.
and then you're constantly sitting on your knees in your chair, keep talking, and then you just circle around. It's a lot.
It's the risk of medical tourism, the unregulated clinics. Medical standards and regulations is different in different places. I've seen some places like in Turkey or the DR where they appear to be on the up and up, but again, they don't have the same regulations as we have here. If something happens, they don't have to report things the way we do. It's just different when you go abroad. I've seen so many horror stories. There's so many horror stories out there about people who have either been unalived overseas on these procedures or they have some type of medical problem that causes them to remain there longer. They don't have the same practices or safety regulations that we do. You got to look at things like that. Also, with that, you're looking at some places aren't as clean. So there's lack of hygiene protocols, there's inadequate trained people, uncertified surgeons. We were talking about that our last live. You got a dentist that's doing breast augmentations. Oh, I got my certification out of the cereal box.
Yeah, I have a friend that had some Botox put in because they were experiencing TMJ. It's something with her jaw. She was having problems with her jaw area. I guess like she clenches or something that would cause her having headaches.
Mm.
So when she went to the dentist had suggested that you get some Botox around in that area so it would alleviate that. And so she and I were talking, and I was like, I'm not saying your dentist isn't good. I'm not saying that at all. But dentists work on teeth. If I didn't learn anything from these other shows, they're telling you if that person does not do it all day, every day, or do a majority of that, you might not want to deal with it. And so I had just expressed my opinion. I said, you do what you want to do. So she went to a nurse practitioner, but she does Botox and fillers. That is what she does in the office. She ended up going to her for a consultation and ended up going with her.
Okay.
And she hasn't had the problem. It might have been the same outcome with her dentist, but I'm not going to the dentist for Botox. I'm just not going to do it. You're doing teeth.
You're doing teeth. Exactly. It makes no sense. I'm glad you spoke a word to her and she was correct.
And
Yeah, that
just
sounds
go and
right.
see what, and I didn't say you had to go where I go or go over to the other place, but you need to have a different perspective than just one person. You really do.
Absolutely. I agree. And let's talk about the post surgical complications. We touched on a lot of this stuff when talking the surgical complications when you're flying home, like KayCee was saying. I called it blood clots, but it's also called DV, what is it? DVT, deep vein thrombosis. So that's those blood clots that form in your legs during a long flight. When you're getting these major procedures and you hop back on a plane, maybe it's the day after, but still your body needs to recover. These are complications that can happen. People are not weighing that cost. I'm gonna get on my soapbox one more time.
Okay. I'm listening. I promise I won't do this.
Reading is fundamental, y'all. And if you don't want to read, do some research. YouTube education is endless. There is an unlimited supply of reactions, stories, Netflix. If you're not a reader, there is all type of visual, video evidence to the risks in this.
Yes.
Just take a look. Just take a look. Don't just do things haphazardly. Think of your life. That's all I'm going to say.
Because the post visit, or I should say, the aftercare
Right.
on a regular or basic complicated surgery, you have to be mindful of as well. If you're doing something that's avant garde, just think about it. When I had my tummy tuck, it took about 6 weeks to feel better. I still had the drains. At first, it was weekly. Then, after a while, they push it out every other week. And then you had to remove the drains, but then you still were hunched over and not feeling the greatest. And that was with a smooth recovery. So, you're doing that other stuff where you can't sit, you got to kneel in a seat, you can't do anything really.
Don't you have to like lay on your stomach for so many hours?
And then here we go. It took at least 6 weeks to be able to go jump in the actual shower.
Oh my gosh. You can't jump in the shower. You got to do a
Yes.
whole bath.
Yes.
Oh Lord. You don't want to have to do the whole bath for a long time.
And like I said, I don't know how it would be to do any other
In
avant.
procedure, right.
Yes.
Yeah. Just think about these things. And then let's get into the even darker, seedier side of it all. There is something going on that I've seen a few documentaries or some videos on with regards to medical tourism and organ harvesting, the allegations of it all. So, people, I've seen a couple, I've seen one where the woman was unalived during a surgery, unfortunately. Her relatives did not come down there with her. She went solo. She went to, I won't even say the country. I'm not even going to put the country out there, but she went to another country for a total body makeover. And so she,
Wow.
yeah, she actually was unalived on the table, unfortunately. And by the time her family found out, it was a few days later, they were trying to get her body back to the United States. And so that took some time with regards to customs, and they wouldn't give her any answers. They didn't speak the language. So there was a language barrier. To make a long story short, when they did receive her body back, they received her body back minus major organs. So they had harvested her organs and sent her body back, unfortunately. And then there was another situation where a young lady went outside the country to get a tummy tuck and lipo with breast augmentation. She had the procedure, came back home, and things were going good, but then she started getting really
Mm.
tired all the time. She didn't understand why she was always depleted. She was going to work, coming home, but she was more tired than what she usually was. She went to the doctor and got some blood work done, and they were like, hey, your numbers are off. And so they ended up doing an x-ray on her and found out that one of her kidneys was missing. They took one and did not tell her. So they sewed her back up and that was missing. So you have to be
God,
very
what are you doing?
leery.
There's nothing you can do.
There's what can you do? You went to another country. So what's the recourse? What is the recourse for that? Some clinics prey on vulnerable patients. When you come down there by yourself, you're not letting anybody know because you want to be discreet. You don't want anybody to know that you're going to get a procedure done. They can prey on you like that. You undergo these surgeries and they can do whatever. Be careful with regards to that.
That even goes on, even domestically. You hear about that as well.
That's just crazy. And the tourism hotspots, the popular destinations of Mexico, the DR. Everybody knows about the Mexico and DR. So common for bariatric surgery, dental procedures, and BBLs is Mexico. The DR is known for their cosmetic surgeries, but also infamous for the laxed regulations. You want to be careful of places that have very lax regulations because those regulations are in place for a reason. If something happens, then there's some liabilities that can be held on that institution or that place. But if there's no regulations or lax regulations, then who's liable? You really don't have any liability when you're coming from another country. You're not
And
a citizen.
No, you're right. One of the questions I had, it's okay, so you go somewhere else to have your procedure done, whether it be domestically or abroad. When you come back to your home state, your home city, and you have to go to the doctor, a lot of times doctors, unless you have it already set up that this doctor knows you're going to be going over to that doctor and you're going to come back, some doctors don't want to be liable for that. So a lot of doctors, if I didn't do the work, I'm not going to bear the responsibility
That's
on
true.
making sure you're fine. Because that was always the concern that I had when I knew of my friend that went over to Miami and was still coming back after about a week and a half. And I'm like, who do you see? How does that work? I guess it's already established way before they leave. I don't know. It's crazy. I would not put that much trust in somebody to take care of me after I went somewhere else. Then you're stuck.
Yeah, when you're in a network for
Hmm.
healthcare, your information is in a system that either doctor, because you're in network, can look at procedures, blood work, da 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 da. If you're not in the network and you go on to another country and then you come back and you're putting yourself in the care of your regular primary, your PCP, primary care provider, but they don't know what took place over there, they have no documentation. I don't blame them for not wanting to be responsible. They don't know what you did over there. They don't know what the doctor did. They don't know their credentials.
Right.
I don't blame them for that.
So you end up in ER, and the person on call that evening is the one they end up taking you in, and you go from there. And that's
Right.
how a lot of them have gotten in. But and then you got all these questions to answer, and it just gets really convoluted. I'm just speaking of that because of somebody I know that had to deal with it. So
Oh, wow.
and I know we've talked a lot about the BBLs and everything, but also there's two other places that also do these kind of things that are popular. There's also dental
Mm-hmm.
tourism as well as medical due to the low cost of that. Because I can tell you, replacing a tooth is expensive.
Expensive.
There's Thailand and India that people go to. And I saw one lady I follow on Instagram, and she got her teeth done, and she went to Colombia, and
Mm.
she highly recommended it. Her teeth looked excellent. Here I go. Oh, they looked excellent.
She got the
But
veneers.
yes, they looked really good. The only thing with that, I would never go because I don't speak enough Spanish to be able to order anything at a restaurant, let alone anything else. But yeah, people go out of the country for dental as well. It's not just one particular area.
Everything. Because I understand that things are very expensive out here. I'm cussing every time I get a copayment, or I'm cussing and fussing every time my healthcare provider only pays 80% and I'm
Right.
responsible for the 20. I understand it, but at the same instance, is it worth my life? That's how I look at it. Yes, something can happen to me here as well. I do agree, but I would rather be here in my home country. This is my personal opinion. This is just E's personal opinion, than to go somewhere else and have something go down and I have no one there. I don't speak the language. I'd rather be safe in my own country and deal with it. If
Right.
that costs me a little bit of extra coin, I guess that's what I'm
You got
going
to
to
wait a
do.
little bit longer for the full frontal teeth, but
Yeah,
you'll be
okay.
okay.
I'll be all right.
One at a time.
And they also offer, they got, what do they have? They have these cosmetic credit cards now.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I don't need to know that.
Right. They have financing available. There are credit cards out there that will finance your cosmetic surgeries. Yes, they will. You
Oh,
make
damn.
payments. All right.
Wow.
So let's look at, there's a couple of more things and then we'll close it out because we've touched on so much. Can you imagine if we tried to do this on the last one?
No,
No.
I can't.
I didn't really understand how much goes into cosmetic surgery, how popular it is, and just the extent of all of this. Once I started researching, I was like, this is a lot of information. So I definitely wanted to make sure that we covered enough of it to give people an idea, just some things to realize when you're looking at cosmetic surgery as a whole. The limited legal resources, jurisdiction issues, patients who suffer malpractice abroad often face significant barriers seeking justice. Lawsuits must be filed in the country where the surgery occurred, which is costly and complex. And then you look at, okay, It's costly and complex to get your due, justice, but you're going there because you didn't want to pay the coin in the first place. So, do you really have enough coin to seek justice?
You save so much, you probably do.
You hope. Or you didn't have it in the first place and you went over there spending all that you had on a dream. So take those things in consideration. There's corruption and accountability. In some countries, very corrupt. Within the healthcare and legal system, this can result in cases being dismissed or investigations stalled. So you deal with that enough over here, okay? Just imagine going somewhere else.
No.
You don't want to deal with that. Expert recommendations for safer medical tourism. You want to research people's credentials. You should be researching people's credentials, period.
Common, not so common.
Right. You need to research people's credentials. So, accredited by organizations like Joint Commission International, JCI, or International Society of Aesthetic Plastic Surgery. So, ISAPS. You want to consult locally first. Hello. Get a recommendation. If you're going to go over abroad, get a recommendation. That
Don't go
would at
buy a
least help.
brochure. Don't go
Right.
buy a
Don't
brochure.
go buy a brochure. Get a recommendation. Exactly. You want to purchase insurance. This is one I didn't know. Specialized medical tourism insurance can cover complications or emergencies
Oh,
as
that's
they
good to know.
arrive.
I didn't know that.
It makes sense. Even when you take a flight, you can purchase insurance
Right,
for that
right.
flight. So purchase insurance. Get some specialized medical tourism insurance. Plan for recovery. Avoid long flights immediately after surgery and have a clear post-op care plan
Oh, wow.
before traveling.
That's
Look
an
at that.
oxymoron, isn't it?
Don't get your butt on a plane right after you done got off the table.
And
Beloved,
a week or so is not enough time.
it really isn't. These are major surgeries. So just do your research. That's all I'm going to leave with. Do your research, be smart, use common sense. If you have not learned anything or taken anything from us, do that. KayCee, that's all I got. Anything you want to add?
No, I think we beat this one to death.
Say we beat it.
I think we have. I guess bottom line, it's just our opinion. If you are going to do it, just do it with safety in mind. That's the main thing. I'm a proponent of plastic surgery. I definitely stand by it. But again, it's not for everybody. To me, if you're going to get it done, let it look natural. You don't want to look like a fucking cartoon when you do it, because you want people to guess, hey, there's something about you. Not, oh, there we go.
I agree. And unlike KayCee, I haven't gotten anything done, but I do want to get something done. Even though I'm saying all this, I'm still going to get a procedure done. But if anything, this whole segment has taught me, I already research. I'm not as good as KayCee, but I'm going to research the hell out of this before I let anybody touch me. This has just solidified it more for me.
You get it done one time. Next time you're going to jump on that table before anything. All right, let's go.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about somebody do it good. And I'll be like, oh, I need this done. I need that done. So...
And that's what'll happen. It's unfortunate because then once you see something, then you're like, okay, what else is there? It's just a natural thing. You're just going to look. Now, how much you act upon it, that's a totally different subject altogether. But yeah, you'll like it.
Yeah. So we're not downing it.
I'm not downing it.
It's good for what it's good for. We're just saying be safe. Do your research and be careful. That's all. You guys, we're going to end this segment. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we gave you a lot of information. Let us know in the comments. Like I said, we have on our podcast, we have our email. If you ever want to send us something to let us know how we did, good, bad, or indifferent, just let us know. We are constantly growing, constantly learning. I don't take that as a bad thing. I take constructive criticism as such. It's constructive, long as it's constructive, right? Let us know in the comments what you thought about this show. Let us know if you've had any procedures, horror stories, or good stories. If you have good surgeons, recommendations, let us know. We'd love to hear it all. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we will be back with another one soon. We are on YouTube as well. Like I said, if you want to see how lovely KayCee looks today.
Oh, you know what? Thank you, but come on now. At first, I was like, "Oh, hey." Then after a while, I'm like, "Okay." Now look.
Can you tell she don't take compliments? I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's Miss Diva. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, see, there she goes. Okay. See, that's why we're opposite.
You see that picture right there? Yeah.
Yes, we know Diva.
But like I said, if you want to see us, catch us on YouTube as well. We'll be uploading all our content, our visual content on YouTube, and our audio is going to be on all major podcasting platforms. I hope you guys have a blessed week, like I always say.
Yes.
I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening. Until the next one, you guys. Bye.
Tiki Barber here. I remember those grueling practices, pushing through fatigue and striving for greatness. Well, that's the same dedication My Herba puts into their supplements. They understand the body's needs. My Herba takes a holistic approach to wellness. Whether it's their sea moss, immune defense, or even sleepy time, they have an option for you. Let My Herba make the best you with code BARBER10 for 10% off at thefitnesscollective.com.